I don't want a woman with a belly like a monster. You'll have to raise the kid by yourself. While looking at my swollen belly, 9 months pregnant, Nathan spitefully said. His eyes were snaring, a vulgar smile stretching across his lips. I had always expected this day would come. Despite expecting such an incident, I swiftly went to my room, came back, and presented him with a document. Fine. Here's the divorce papers. I thrust the prepared divorce papers before Nathan, who distorted his face and said, "What the hell? What's this all of a sudden?" "Well, it was your idea. Now sign it quickly. I'll submit it tomorrow." His face rapidly turned red at my provocative words. "Watch closely. I'll make you regret how you've treated and looked down on me all this time. My name is Hillary Johnson. I'm a 28-year-old housewife. Until 2 years ago, I was working for a mobile company. I met Nathan Johnson, my boss at the workplace, when I was 26. It didn't take us long to fall in love and get married after that. Nathan, 6 years older than me, was very dependable, especially when teaching me the ropes at work. Being new to the department and not knowing my way around, I couldn't express how grateful I was for Nathan's precise instructions. As he taught me about work, we became friends and went out to dinner together. When he asked me out, I was over the moon, especially because I had never dated anyone before. It's embarrassing and not something I share often, but being a cartoon enthusiast, I was always more interested in the 2D characters than real-world men. However, seeing high school and college classmates getting married one after another, I started to feel the pressure. When I fell in love with Nathan, I secretly vowed it would be my first and last love. So, when I began dating Nathan and we got married a year later, I was completely elated. Nathan was good-looking and popular among the female coworkers. I was proud to be his wife. At the workplace, many congratulated us, saying, "Congratulations, although I'm jealous, I wish you happiness." I was basking in unprecedented happiness. I would have never imagined what was in store for us. "Since you're married to me, you'll quit your job, right?" I informed them yesterday. What? The day after we submitted our marriage registration. Just as I was eagerly starting our new married life, Nathan said that. Obviously, I've always wanted my wife to focus solely on household matters. Don't worry. I can support both of us with my income. But this is so sudden. You never told you that before. I never heard from Nathan about quitting my job before our marriage. I began working at my current job due to a recommendation from my father. It wouldn't be right to leave without notice. I wanted to explain this. But Nathan's eyes exerted a silent pressure that told me not to pursue the topic further. I instinctively shut my mouth and couldn't resist anymore. I admit I should have told you. But it's done. Starting tomorrow, you don't need to go to work. I'll handle the handover. Starting tomorrow. What a surprise. The news about it starting tomorrow was so sudden that I felt dizzy. However, Nathan's words were serious. I couldn't oppose Nathan, who had been my superior at work. Even though I had to leave my job without a proper farewell, I was determined to make our marriage work. Since Nathan married me and entrusted me with household responsibilities, I wanted to meet his expectations. I didn't want to be considered an incompetent wife. With utmost dedication, I worked hard at the household chores. I prepared meals focusing on Nathan's favorites, setting as many dishes as possible on the table. Although Nathan ate everything without specifically saying it was delicious or bad, I honestly wished he would offer a word of appreciation. Maybe I was hungry for that kind of recognition after quitting my job and no longer being recognized by anyone. I have an important meeting tomorrow. My jacket's clean, right? Yes, of course. Nathan seemed to hold some old-fashioned views, showing a domineering side. I kept reminding myself how fortunate I was to have married him and took the initiative to meet his expectations. Without any personal income, I had no way of living normally other than with Nathan. Our relationship felt more like that of an employer and a housemaid than a husband and wife. But our marital life was smooth. One day, I fell ill and couldn't get out of bed. Feeling lethargic and thinking, I'll catch up on the housework tomorrow. Nathan entered the bedroom. Hey, what are you doing? Get up. Make some food. He got angry and kicked the blanket I was in. I'm sorry. I'm feeling unwell today. Can you manage something for yourself? Even after I explained, instead of nodding in understanding, Nathan frowned and said, What? You don't work. Yet you're lying down just because you feel a bit sick? Pathetic. Get up. He kicked me again, and I got up from the bed in disbelief. It was unthinkable that he would demand housework from his sick wife. I never imagined he would be like this before we married. Perhaps it was my fault for not seeing it, but it was too much. I did my chores while crying. Several days passed, and my health did not improve. Then I realized I had missed my period and rushed to the drugstore to buy a pregnancy test. Upon trying it, it showed a positive result. I was overjoyed and tears flowed naturally. I decided to tell Nathan when he returned from work. My spirits lifted instantly. What? You're pregnant? That day, Nathan returned home after midnight. The moment he entered, the smell of alcohol made me nauseous. His face was flushed, and he staggered as he walked. It was surprising how much he had drunk, especially without notifying me in advance. So I had prepared dinner. But more than that, I wanted to quickly tell Nathan about the pregnancy, and shared the news with my drunk husband. Yes. I haven't been to the doctor yet, so it's not confirmed. I spoke with deep emotion, wanting to convey the happiness as soon as possible. But I saw Nathan's face darken. A child. What have you done? Perhaps due to the alcohol, Nathan spoke with an uncharacteristically grim tone. Huh? I don't want a child. Damn, this is the worst. If you're going to have it, raise it yourself. With those harsh words, Nathan rudely stripped off his clothes and headed to the bathroom. It was unbelievable. I can't believe he would make irresponsible comments about the baby instead of being happy for us. The happiness I felt was immediately replaced with deep sorrow. Why would he say such things? He doesn't want a child? He had never mentioned such feelings before. We hadn't even been using contraception, so I naturally thought we both wanted children. Even if he didn't want children. To tell his pregnant wife that it's the worst was beyond comprehension. As I was hanging Nathan's jacket and about to take his shirt to the washroom, I noticed something. What's this? A piece of paper emerged from the pocket of the dress shirt. Immediately, I could tell it was a receipt by its texture. I thought it was just a receipt from tonight's gathering and was about to discard it. But then my eyes caught the name of the establishment. Is this a motel? My hand holding the receipt trembled. Just by the name, I could tell it was a motel. Why? Doesn't Nathan love me? Isn't marriage supposed to be between two people who love each other? Especially since we've only been married for just over a year, how could this be? Having been lost in imaginary romances for years and never truly engaging in a real relationship, I couldn't immediately accept this reality. However, if Nathan was cheating, many things would make sense. Has Nathan been using me from the very start of our marriage? Was he truly in love with the one he was cheating with and I was just a convenient servant? Is that why he acted that way when he heard I was pregnant? When I started to doubt Nathan, I couldn't stop and nausea started to set in. Yes, it must be. There's no doubt. Maybe the reason he drove me out of the company was that his mistress worked there. Thinking that, everything started to make sense. He simply wanted stability by marrying me. I couldn't differentiate between what was real and what I was imagining. But, the heartless words he hurled at me after finding out I was pregnant were undeniably infuriating. That day, I decided to gather evidence of Nathan's infidelity. From that point on, Nathan's cold behavior towards me became very apparent. Perhaps he couldn't forgive the fact that I was pregnant. Even knowing that I was suffering from morning sickness, he would purposely eat smelly foods near me or nitpick my housework, making me redo tasks. My pregnant body had a lot to endure, and my heart was heavy with done whenever Nathan harassed me. While enduring Nathan's harassment, I investigated his affair. Nathan never parted from his cellular phone, even taking it to the bathroom, making it impossible to sneak a peek. During the day, when I secretly entered Nathan's room, I found nothing incriminating in his tidy room. He was meticulous even at work, with his desk always in order. Realizing it'd be hard to get a slip up from him directly, I frequently checked Nathan's pockets for possible evidence like receipts. However, my investigation was proving to be difficult. Should I give up and hire a detective? But I don't have that kind of money. While I was pondering this, I received a phone call. Hello? It's me, your dad. How are you? The caller was my father. He rarely called me, so I wondered what was up. Dad, what's the matter? Aren't you busy with work? Well, my employees have been doing well, so I'm not that busy. My father is the CEO of a company in Canada. He's always been busy since I can remember, and I don't have many memories of playing with him. However, I respected him for his passion for work. So why would he call me out of the blue? So, what's going on? As I inquired, my father began to reveal a shocking truth. Is that really true? Yes. He's not the type to lie. I want you to believe me. After hearing my father's words, I was in shock and couldn't respond. However, I began to understand the cause of my distress and felt somewhat relieved. Thank you, Dad. I'll do my best. After expressing my gratitude to my father for the valuable information, I hung up the phone. The harvest of my research rose unexpectedly. While I was inwardly pumping my fist in excitement, I couldn't help but get upset by what I had learned. Tensions between Nathan and me only seemed to increase. Nathan continued to be cold to me, even though I was pregnant. Every time he acted that way, I felt a profound hatred towards him. Months of this went on. Finally, an event occurred that broke our life apart. Being 9 months pregnant, I was always cautious around Nathan, living as if holding my breath. I tried to stay out of Nathan's sight, leading a quiet life. Such a stifling life wore me down. One day, I served the dinner I made as usual when Nathan returned and we sat at the dining table. I was quietly eating when Nathan suddenly slammed his fork down. What is this? It's tasteless. With that, he threw the food I made onto the floor. Huh? Why are you doing this? I was taken aback, trying to comprehend the situation. The anger at having the meal I prepared dumped before me gradually welled up inside me. I've been thinking this for a while now, but recently your meals are tasteless. How can you make something so awful? Nathan spat out his complaints. It's true, since becoming pregnant, I've been preparing meals with minimal seasoning. But that's healthier for everyone, and it's only until the baby is born. If he found it that bad, he could have just added salt himself. Why did he have to throw the food? I was about to complain to him when Nathan snickered and said, "Humph. I don't want a woman with a belly like a monster. You'll have to raise the kid by yourself." While looking at my swollen belly, 9 months pregnant, Nathan spitefully said. His eyes were sneering, a vulgar smile stretching across his lips. I had always expected this day would come. Despite expecting such an incident, I swiftly went to my room, came back, and presented him with a document. Fine. Here's the divorce papers. I thrust the prepared divorce papers before Nathan, who distorted his face and said, "What the hell? What's this all of a sudden?" "Well, it was your idea. Now sign it quickly. I'll submit it tomorrow." In truth, since suspecting Nathan's infidelity, I had considered divorcing him. But with a child on the way, I was unsure if I could sustain myself if I took the plunge. Now, however, things were different. Being controlled by Nathan was becoming more intolerable than any other fear. And then, I thought of someone. I had a backup plan that assured me I would be fine even after the divorce. Provoked by my words, I could see Nathan's face turning red with anger. "Just watch. I will make you regret every moment you looked down upon me and controlled me. You think you can survive without me? You have a baby to care for. You will regret it. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. Perhaps irritated by my firm resolve, Nathan snatched the divorce papers and began to fill in the blanks. Here you go. If this is what you wanted, it's yours. Thank you. Probably, Nathan didn't think I would actually submit the divorce papers. He handed them over without a fuss. The next day, I promptly submitted the divorce papers and left the house. He would be surprised when he returned from work to find out. After that, I moved to my parents' home. It was primarily due to my father's return to the U.S. from Canada and his proposal to stay with them. It came at the right time when I was fed up with my life with Nathan, and I deeply thanked my father. I received several calls from Nathan Johnson the day I left our home, but I ignored all of them. Eventually, he stopped calling. In the end, I probably meant that little to Nathan. He's probably happy with his mistress by now. I'm guessing he might even remarry soon. I've decided to move on from Nathan, and 6 months have passed. I had a baby who was born safely, and now I live happily with my parents and the baby. It was when I was enjoying this peaceful life with my family that Nathan called again. I ignored it at first, but after repeated persistent calls, I had no choice but to answer. Hello, what do you want now? Hey, what's going on? Startled by the yelling from the phone, I quickly pulled it away from my ear. With the baby sleeping nearby, I moved to an empty room. What do you mean? What are you talking about? The TV? Why were you on that show? And since when were you the daughter of a CEO with assets worth millions of dollars? I never knew that. Apparently, Nathan had seen a TV show that was broadcasted yesterday. After returning to my family home, I received a request from a TV station. My father's company, S Technology, is a renowned global tech company. The show featured the lavish life of the family of the CEO, who had returned to the U.S. Producers came to my house and filmed the lifestyle of my father, who built a globally renowned company. During the interview, they talked about our wealth, mentioning a rough estimate of several $1,000,000. I never imagined Nathan would see that show, but the power of television is truly something. Oh, I didn't tell you. I have an asset of $29 million due to an advance inheritance. That's why I was able to divorce you. Yes, I had been informed of the inheritance by my father. That's why I have the confidence to live even after divorcing Nathan. What? That's dirty. Why didn't you tell me about this before? Half of it is mine, right? Give me the money now. Just as I suspected. After seeing the show, all he could think of was extorting money from me. No. Gifts from parents are not included in the property distribution. And are you forgetting your own misdeeds? What are you talking about? I'm exasperated with Nathan's rage over the phone. He called me himself, he should know he get blamed for what he did. You cheated, didn't you? With your new wife? And she's a junior from your company, isn't she? You started dating her even before our marriage. How do you know that? Nathan was evidently shocked. With the information I got from my father, I finally had the upper hand. Did you think I wouldn't find out? My father told me. He has many acquaintances in your company. One of them informed me about your affair. I've never mentioned it, but I'll be demanding child support. Stop kidding. Why should I pay child support? It's all because of you, right? You got pregnant on your own and slacked off with household chores. It's all your fault. Hearing Nathan blame me on the other end, my headache get worse. Blaming me without apologizing for his own mistakes is beyond belief. I can't believe I was married to someone so lacking in common sense. I truly feel it was right to leave him. Please, Hillary. I'm broke. My wife spent all the money I earned, and now I'm drowned in debt. Hearing Nathan's pitiful plea, I went from anger to sheer disbelief. I never want to deal with such an unreasonable person ever again. With that thought in mind, I firmly gripped my phone. What are you talking about? Do you even realize how ridiculous you sound? I never want to deal with you ever again. I'll have my lawyer handle the matter of child support. Never call me again. And you will not see the child anymore. Goodbye. Hey, wait. After pouring out my emotions, I quickly hung up the phone. Afterwards, I blocked Nathan's number and took a deep breath. Sigh. It's over now, right? I won't get any more calls from Nathan. I no longer want him disrupting my peaceful life. Just then I heard my baby crying from the other room, and I rushed to the room to soothe the baby. He began paying child support every month. According to a former colleague, as Nathan said, the woman he remarried seemed to be a spendthrift, and he had to pay his current living expenses with debts. It seems that because of these circumstances, Nathan tried to get a share of my inheritance by calling me. But Nathan, who didn't get a penny from me, now has expenses greater than his income. He's struggling either because he felt things were going south, or he couldn't stand being looked down upon by his colleagues. And apparently, he's trying to find a job at another company. However, rumors spread that Nathan had an affair with a junior colleague at the company, making it difficult for him to find a new job. What's more, he stupidly began his job search only after leaving his current company. And as a result, he's been forced into a life of poverty. Hearing this from a colleague didn't move me in the slightest. I thought he deserved all the hardships. The harsh words and cold demeanor he showed me will never fade from my memory. I sincerely hope he gets what he deserves. On the other hand, I am enjoying parenting with my parents. I think I'll lead a comfortable life without financial worries. But since my father mentioned passing on the company to me, I'm all geared up to work. After all, I am my hard-working